welcome to Reelin Films. I do hope that you enjoy this video. Don't forget, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell. Like that you guys can get notified for anything and everything movie and series related here at Reel in Films. I hope you enjoy this video. Hey, hello and welcome. Welcome to Reel in Films. We're going to be talking about your short film, The Rainbow Bridge. That it's a psychedelic trip in many ways, but in a good way. I liked it. I enjoyed it really a lot, especially that the topic is about pets. I have a small dog, and I have another dog that lives with my mom, but
You got a couple
every
Mimus.
exactly. And I really do wish that one day I could get to see them again. So this film touches my heart a lot, you know. But wanted to ask, what inspired you to bring the Rainbow Bridge to the people?
Yeah, I mean that exact idea that we all, I think that's one of the more relatable human experiences that we all go through, dealing with loving and having, and also of course losing a pet. That's just part of the deal. That's the deal we make. And it's worth it, but it still is a bummer. But I wanted to yeah, like I wanted to exemplify that experience in a very psychedelic kind of mind melty way. So thank you for getting it. But yeah, that was really the main goal, to be like, hey, you're not alone. This is something we all deal with. It doesn't have to be a bummer. It is a bummer, but it doesn't have to be like
there's a world after it.
There's a world after it, and it can be honestly like kind of a trippy experience even.
Okay.
No.
And
Oh, I was just gonna add that Dimitri had been wanting, we've been wanting to make a short with two for like 10 years, so it kind of like sprung up organically out of this idea of like wanting to make a specifically like a fantasy or science fiction piece that's built around two entirely.
Yeah.
So
yes,
that's kind of
the two ideas melded perfectly. The timing, everything just worked out perfectly.
Okay, that's amazing. So this question is for I don't know how to pronounce your name. How do you pronounce your name?
For two?
Yeah, for two.
Yeah.
Like that?
Two?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just two. Yeah.
Okay. So two. Being the fact that you're part of this psychedelic trip as well. What inspired you to be part of the cast?
I mean, they just asked me to, and I said yeah. So, that was it. It wasn't too complicated.
Oh, the best.
I have full
story
trust
ever.
in Dimitri and Suki. I know what their work looks like. I like it. So it was cool to see them, from what I know of what Everything is Terrible does is mostly like edits and like found footage, so like this was kind of like a departure from that, where they're actually shooting and writing and scripting, and like it's like a whole production, making something from scratch. And I know Dimitri does drawings and art from scratch anyway, so like this is kind of like a video version of that. So everything just kind of feels like a really detailed illustration or oil paint, like a dense oil painting or Renaissance painting or whatever. So things just like feel like overly dramatic, which is cool. And it doesn't feel real at all, which is great. And yeah.
That's amazing. And how is it? How can you guys describe working together? Zuki, Dimitri, and two. How do you guys would describe working together?
Well, for Suki and I, there's at least that start of it where
we're married. So
now, and like most importantly, at least what made my life so much easier is that Suki is a director in her own right. So there were tons of things along the way during the process where, at this stage, it's like, and I direct too, it's, that really helped. But at this level, it was like, okay, well, how do we handle this? How do we handle, a crew of this many people? How are we, whatever, all the many, many, many challenges that come with this. So at least on that end of it, that was a huge bonus to just like, hey, you're in the other room or you're in the same room with me. Just how do we solve this?
Yeah, we work very collaboratively. And with the feature version of the Rainbow Bridge that we're working on now, we're going to be writing and directing that together. So for us, it's kind of like when you're working on a project like this, it takes up like everything and it's constantly churning in your brain. So it does help if you're doing that and your partner is not involved in the project. Like, I don't really know how people do that because
without just like,
I need someone
at all, or you just have like,
yeah,
are you just available 24/7? How do you do it?
I need, it's a great boon to have someone who's like lost in the crazy sauce with you, just like really obsessed and fully in it. And then
it's a full-time gig.
We've been long time like friends and fans of Two, and so we've worked together. I produced something a long time ago for Adult Swim that Two was in, so we had worked together in that capacity. And
I never had with Two though, but that was so fun. I mean, just knowing her, being friends with her. We've worked on other things, but not specifically video. Like I hadn't directed her before, but that was so easy. Like it was just like, no, we've known you this long, we get it, we know who you are, that's why we want you to be in this.
And our set definitely feels like a group of, we're all friends, we're all kind of like, struggling towards the same goals, so it feels pretty like
positive vibes only on set.
Yeah, the familiarity really helps because like everyone kind of gets it, you don't have to like spend a long time explaining how things work, or you can just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, and you're not really, kind of trust the process because you trust everyone there. So it was great to, work with, but pals and people, and the built-in trust is good. And like I know like for me it's like exhausting to explain a lot of times, so like I feel like that kind of helps not having to explain so much, or even like not thinking that you need to explain and then like kind of assuming sometimes, and like being wrong and then like that being okay, so yeah.
Now, going back to something that Suki mentioned, full-length film. You guys are working on it, and okay, I need you guys to at least make me a picture of how this is gonna work as a 1 hour or 2 hour film, because if this I think it was like 12-minute short film takes you to this big trip, how is it gonna work for 2 hours or an hour and 30 minutes?
There's so much more to add. There's so much more dynamic between Herb and Dr. Bailey. There's tons going on with Tina/Two's family life that we're starting to explore. But
we definitely are spending a lot more time in the Rainbow Realm. That's the thing about the short, is that it's really like backloaded with the whole thing is psychedelic visually,
and it's it's a lot of information to give out, to be like, okay, here's where we're at, here's what they do, here are these people, here's their motivations. There's a lot to explain, so really it would give us kind of the perfect amount of breathing room to tell the same story. It's a different story, but similar obviously in what we're trying to say. But yeah, the thing that we're at least right now that her and I are super excited about is just spending more time in that Rainbow Realm and getting to
expand that further,
where that goes,
more people there, who else is there, we don't know.
What does it look like once you start exploring? What do the mountains look like? What do the caves look like? What are the whatever, it goes on and on. So shockingly, it's been very easy for us to write so far. It's just
we definitely aren't done with the characters for sure. You
don't get to know Tina that well in the short. You get to not as well as we'd like, of course.
Sure.
There's always, we want to leave you wanting more, but that just means, okay, now is our chance to do it.
And I think Dr. Bailey Picadillo is a character that like we're just kind of obsessed with. She's always popping up for us mentally, and we love these characters so much that I just feel like there's so much more for them to do. So we'll see.
Okay, so now I need to ask. I need to ask too. What would you like to see in your character, Tina?
What do I want to see? Well, I guess what does she do all day? What are her friends? Does she work from home? Does she go to work? Have a does she have a love interest? Does she have like other pets? Does she uh have other friends with pets? I want to hang out in the rainbow realm more, see what that looks like. D d d- yeah. I mean, I want to hang out with Dr. Bailey. I became pretty obsessed with her. She's like, she has that cat. What happened? What was their wedding like? Did they go on a honeymoon? What did the office look like in the beginning when there was nothing there, when it was new? Um, what was Mimu like when he was a puppy? So much, so
All good questions.
It's all in the movie too.
It's
It's all in the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Great pitches.
So wanted to ask each and one of you what fond memory do you all have while you were filming the Rainbow Bridge?
You guys want to start? I've got.
I mean, I feel like the sense of catharsis when you finish something like this, I feel like we were kind of it was such a huge, massive amount of effort that it wasn't until like the day after we wrapped that we were like, oh, we did it. Like, it's done. We did it. So and to complete a project like this that, is such a specific vision, and to come through the other side of it and be like, damn, it all worked. Everything that was, you always hope everything you're trying to communicate visually on screen works. But like this one, I mean, I know it's all about the journey and not the destination, but the destination was pretty cool too.
No, but yeah, I think for me, the last like hour of the last day, when I could finally like get a little bit better perspective and be like, okay, no, it's the task of this part of the task is done. You have now climbed to the top of this mountain. There are many more mountains to climb, but at least that one, while everyone was still around, so much of the cast and crew were still there, and we were just able to, like, honestly, lunches were great. We had great lunches, so that was really nice, like, for camaraderie. But really, at that moment, it was like, oh, I see what this is going to look like now. I get it. The edit, just like, I know what we have. It's here. Where that's not always the case when you're done with a shoot of like, I think we got everything we needed. No, I was like, no, I really think we got everything we needed. So we were creatively a little coked up, in that sense.
Yeah. I always had like I felt my adrenaline rushing every time I had to run scenes with James and Heather, just because they were like really pro, and like were in character the whole time. And then it was really fun it was fun to perform with them all day, and that was a good memory. Yeah, and the food was good, and yeah, it was fun. Joel, one of our longtime pals, he was on set shooting all the BTS. So like in between, he'd always be snapping funny pictures, and it kept the set really lighthearted. And yeah, it was a good time.
That's
Yeah, having a
amazing.
buddy who's just there for vibes, for like behind the scenes photos and vibes, is something we've not been able to afford or do. But he just came on his own, like, version, and it was like, it just like, it goes so far.
I feel like we definitely don't want to shoot anything without Joel on set with us ever again. Just he was so bad. That's Joel Barhammond. He's an incredible photographer.
Yeah, in his own right. Like, already, just has a great career in his own. But yeah, that was just like really nice to remember that when you're on set, you don't have to feel like you're alone. You don't have to feel like you're like siloed off. It's like, no, it can be a part of this whole like collaborative thing, and like just when possible, like get answers, get questions from other folks who are like, hey, I noticed this isn't right. You're like, oh my God, thank you. But just overall vibes are so important.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And something that when the feature film comes to fruition, right? One thing that you guys have to add is the what's it called? All of the behind the scene videos of funny moments when somebody forgot a line in the credits. That
Oh,
Oh,
that
yeah, we
blooper
love
reel
Oh,
that
is
yeah.
you gotta have a blooper reel. That's
yes.
the bonus
that was,
feature.
Classic.
that was one of the DVD extras.
Yeah, I miss that so much in films, like when they have all those bloopers in the end. So and plus my biggest question of the short film is, was it marinara sauce what he had on his
Oh,
coat?
of course. Yes, absolutely. Marinara.
Oh, authentic. Only the most authentic.
James
of
Urbaniak
Marinara.
is nothing but a pro. You know, he's in, you know, if people aren't familiar with his work, look him up. It's endless, his credits.
Look him up and you'll realize you are, because he's just one of the, he's a
Oh
bad
yeah, you
guy,
are
and
familiar with his work. You just don't know it if you know, whatever.
That was
Very ubiquitous.
we had to get them all prepped. You know, it's whenever you're dealing with the schedule on set, it's like you don't want somebody sitting in an uncomfortable position covered in marinara for too long, but you also don't want it to be holding up the set, the production. So I feel like there was like at least a good half hour where James was like laying on a couch near the makeup area. And he's already been dressed with marinara and he's just kind of like waiting. But he was a real trooper in that one.
No, the whole time, all you guys, all the actors were just such pros.
They put up with a lot.
With marinara, with blue jello,
Blue goo.
with goo, just like everything that was
Yeah.
done to them was everybody was so cool.
How did all of you felt when you got the yes for Sundance?
It was insane, crazy, because you apply as like almost like as a, I don't want to say you do it as a joke, but you're kind of like,
It's a reach.
like, for example, they mentioned it in the press release. There were over 12,000 submissions and the least amount of acceptances for shorts that they've ever had ever in their 40-year history. And you don't know that before you submit, but you know that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know the numbers, but you're like, well, it's got to be over 10,000 people submitting. What are the chances? And, you know, I will say, and, you know, we said this when we got accepted. I mean, of course, we were like overjoyed, but it was also like, whether or not this got in, it doesn't change how much I love the short. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, and I'm really proud of it all the same. If it wasn't accepted, and for folks who have submitted to festivals and maybe don't get the reaction they're hoping for, don't let it like, you know, discourage you from making more stuff. It's just a reason to either, you know, keep trying or go in a different avenue. Maybe that's not even like the goal. The goal shouldn't necessarily be that, but sure, it's an honor.
And it's like an industry that's, you know, it's a process that is, you have to get really comfortable with rejection. And you have to get to a place where you understand that a festival rejection, it's not even reflective necessarily of the quality of the work. It's not reflective of you as an artist. And it's like, because it's endless. And if you're going to make films, it's not ever going to stop that you're going to get told no. So, I mean, it was a thrill. And, you know, I've said this before, I really feel like Sundance has a kind of mythical place in our minds in terms of like, it is this like almost an abstract thing to those of us who haven't been there before or shown there before. And to, you know, just have a little validation that your work, you know, fits in there, or people like it. That's always,
yeah, it's always nice to know people saw it, watched it alone, let alone liked it.
Yeah.
So this would be my final question for all of you today. I think this is going to be the hardest one because every time I ask it, it's where they tell me to give me a couple of minutes. For each one of you, describe the Rainbow Bridge in one word.
I'll start. Real.
Okay.
Is that too basic of an answer?
I don't know. I'm gonna like follow your lead, and I'm gonna be like, it's psychedelic.
Okay. How about you two?
The Rainbow Bridge in one word.
Yeah.
Heavenly.
I'm in. Yes.
That's good.
I think all great.
That is a hard question.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
I've had a lot of people where like they look at me and they're like, "Can you give me a minute because this is hard."
I need to get my thesaurus. Yes.
Yeah.
No, but Dimitri, Suki, too, thank you very much for giving us the time to talk about the Rainbow Bridge. I am super ecstatic that whenever I see that that is a full length film, I'm gonna be the first one to grab a ticket and sit down and watch it.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you, John.
Because
Thank you,
this
John.
is the world that you have built in is amazing, and even in this 10 to 12 minute short film, you are immersed in it, and plus with the characters, it just, I can't imagine when you just sit down and just explore it more. And a phenomenal performance as well from Tu. I loved your character a lot, even though there's not that much in the film that we can see behind Tina, but still there's so much to bring on this short film. So congratulations as well for all of you for to being part of Sundance, and I hope that next time that we sit here and talk, it's a full length film, and either let it be in streaming or theaters. I hope that I am here in this seat to talk to you about it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Such kind
Yeah,
words.
man.
Thank you.
No, thank you all for giving us the time, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks so much.
Ugh.
Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye. Have a great one.